What a lovely afternoon. So I thought I would do a quick review of a writing keyboard that I've started to use and I got off Amazon. So as I've said before, I'm doing drafting a nature book or two at the moment, and a lot of my writing is done on this thing. This is my iPhone Mini 13, which is a small iPhone. And I use a Scrivener app, which is an app that a kind of a writer's app that a lot of longer form writers use to write books. And I'll use the version of it for the iPhone and iPad Mini, and I'll literally walk around using the voice to text feature like this. So I'll be outside birding and do a bit of birding, then every so often I'll write a few sentences like this. So the way I normally do it is you have to speak the pronunciation, so I'll go, I'm writing a book on the natural history of the Isle of Wight, full stop. That's actually not true, full stop. This is just a demonstration, comma, but I am writing several other books, full stop. So that's how I'll write. Speaking the punctuation using the built-in voice-to-text functionality that comes within the operating system of all smartphones, basically. And I probably get about 60% of my words written that way on this iPhone Mini. But in the mornings, I'll be sitting in cafes doing writing, and that's where I was this morning. And I can't really sit there talking into my iPhone to write because I'm very self-conscious and I'll be distracted, and the microphone will probably pick up other people talking around me. So I need something I can actually physically type into. And I've been searching for keyboards that I can do that with, and I'm going to have a quick look at one that I'm currently using for my iPad Mini. Bit of breeze, I hope the sound quality is okay. Right, let's get rid of the bins. So yeah, as I say, I do a lot of the writing on this iPhone Mini, which is really good for drafting kind of the first drafts of manuscripts I'm finding. But I also use this thing, which is the iPad Mini. You can tell I like minimalist devices. Let's put you up a little bit. Excuse me. That's better, I hope. I hope the sound quality is okay. So yeah, I do a lot of writing when I'm inside on my iPad Mini, and I wanted a really good keyboard case to go with it. Apple doesn't produce a kind of a keyboard, like a smart keyboard type device to go with this. So probably a good thing because it'd be very expensive. So I've had to go for a third party thing. And this is one of the keyboard cases I've been using, and I'm just going to give a few bit of a reflections on this. So this was £85 on Amazon. There is a link to it in the description for this video. And what attracted me to this particular keyboard is, as you can see, it's got a trackpad, and quite a big trackpad, if you can have a big trackpad on such a small keyboard for the iPhone Mini. And it's got this magnetic area here, and the iPad Mini just sits on there, and the magnets are pretty strong. And then you have a nice kind of case for the iPad Mini. So let's move the camera a bit. So this is the keyboard case that I've been using for the last couple of weeks. I bought it a few weeks ago. So it's obviously quite a small keyboard, and quite a large trackpad, and in order to fit in the trackpad, they've kind of pushed the keyboard up to the very kind of back so there's no kind of gap here between this back edge and the start of the keyboards. So what I'm finding is when I am typing, I do have to kind of scrunch my fingers a little bit, but that's fine. So ordinarily I have a bit more space, and that does tend to restrict things slightly. But in terms of the actual size and of the keyboard, I really find it very good to work with, and the trackpad I think it's really good as well. I'm quite impressed by it. So the magnets in the top here, so it's literally just held in place with magnets, and there it's pretty strong. It doesn't come out, doesn't come loose unless you force it to come loose. I'm not going to shake it around on the table because it probably will fall out. Now when it's closed, you don't really get support or protection for the kind of around these exposed edges of the iPad mini, which is a shame, but you can fit the pencil, Apple Pencil, onto here, onto the kind of the recharging spot there, which is good. And it is, the keyboard itself is USB-C charged, which is good. And it's quite a tough old joints there so opening it, you do need two fingers. It won't just open up with one finger like Apple Macs do. And another thing I like about this is some of these kind of keyboard cases are quite restricted, so you can push them back by about that far, because any further and they tip over. Whereas with this one, it does actually go back quite a bit further before it tips. So it's just on the tipping point now, as you can see. But that just means the angle is really good for working. And the other thing you can obviously do with this one is lay it down flat like that. And then if you want to put this on a separate stand, you can do that quite easily. You can literally position the keyboard anywhere and carry on working on the keys because it's Bluetooth. And the other, I think, slightly gimmicky thing that is unique to this keyboard is the way it swivels around. I really don't use that or see the point, but I suppose if you were drawing on your Apple Pencil, that could be quite useful, but there's still quite a gap there. It doesn't lie flat, as you can see. I suppose you could watch TV or watch YouTube like this, get the keyboard out of the way, which would be quite helpful. Some other keyboard cases, and there's another one I'll review, and I'll put a link to the review of the other one in the description for this video. You can normally take off this top section, so you've still got the iPad sitting within part of the case, and that adds a bit of protection to for the iPad mini. So what do I think? So I've been using this for a week or two, writing in the mornings in cafes, and I think it's been great, to be honest. So I prefer this to the MacBook Air I've got, although the MacBook Air is obviously a much bigger keyboard and a much bigger screen. I really like working on this, but I am a bit of a minimalist. And I'll bring this outside to places like this. I'm in Ventnor Park on the Isle of Wight and quite happily work here for a couple of hours typing away. If it's noisy, if it isn't noisy, then I'll just be using this voice to text. But yeah, so is it worth £85? I think so, yes. I do like this keyboard. So if you want to have a look at it, like I say, there's a description, or there's a link in the description to this video, which will take you to Amazon, where you can see reviews of this particular keyboard case. Check it out and see what you reckon. Put some comments in the comments section for this video, either if you've used this keyboard, if you have some feedback, or if you have suggestions for alternatives to this kind of keyboard, specifically for an iPad mini. So there we go, there's a quick review of what I actually really like, a small iPad mini 6 keyboard case. And now I'm going to go birding.